Alright, hello and welcome back. The final open beta for this game has finally been released. It will last 11 days, starting from today. Back in January, I had lots of fun playing this game. It is one of my favorites, and I can't wait for its release. It is one of the most anticipated mobile games of this year, so definitely I have high hopes for this game. Well, during these 10 days, the current fastest way to earn money is by ratting, pretty much hunting at the NPCs. And well, I have the Talvar Trainer here, again, one of my iconic ships from the open beta. And this ship proved still to be really strong even today, even in this open beta. And well, here we can see the stats for the ship. It is pretty average, mostly focused on DPS and speed. Its tank isn't that much impressive. It literally has no tank. It tanks by keeping the enemies at distance and with orbiting. But nevertheless, this ship proved to be really good for level up to level 5. You can try level 6 anomalies, but I wouldn't play with that. But you can do up to level 5 anomalies with this ship, and well, in this video I'll be running around some level 4 bases, Inquisitor anomalies and Scout anomalies. But I'm using also kind of a budget build for this ship. Most of my items here is Mark III, because currently only Mark III is available on the market. But nevertheless, it does still do a really good job even at Mark III. The missiles do decent damage, 311 per hit times 3, so almost 1000 per full salvo with all of these 3 missiles. Now for the medium slot, well, you can put a Warp Disruptor or a Status Buffer, or pretty much, let's see what I already have here. Well, pretty much you can also support your fleet members if you're in a fleet, but this ship has a 5% bonus on the Status Buffer range, so you should take that, but at the same time you can also roll with a Warp Disruptor. Due to my actions in the open beta previously, I will have a Warp Disruptor because I feel like those are going to be necessary for me. As for the low slots, well, it depends. If you're aiming for tank, you can go for the shield extenders plus shield boosters. But in my case, I went with energy capacity and of course with DPS and the micro overdrive. Now this it is a MK5 shield capacitor. It is a bit better than the MK3, and it made my cap stable. And so far I have no issues with the cap stability with this ship. It is fast, and as well it is fast and it deals a fair amount of damage. Now as time progresses during this open beta, I will definitely get more items, and I will definitely upgrade the ships. I'll get better ships and of course better items. So there's going to be a lot of these upgrades over the current modules that I have. But so far it does a really good job. I don't have any problems with the fitting for the ship. And of course the micro warp drive, since it is a Talvar, it will have a bonus on reduced signature radius upon using the micro warp drive. I'll definitely use that on this ship. And in a moment I'll just jump in the ship's statistics or ship's info to show you pretty much the details of this Talvar trainer. Now the Talvar trainer is okay. It is pretty cheap and currently available, so you can go and buy it. It is also repairable. Even if you lose it, you can pretty much get it easily back, so it's not much of a big trouble if you lose this ship compared to other ships. And it offers really decent performance in combat. Well, let me just open the statistics, the detailed info. 25% missile torpedo velocity, 5% projectile and 5% torpedo damage, minus 10% micro drive signature radius, and the 5% web buffer range. Pretty much decent for its rank. Well, I think that's enough of me talking here in the station. Time to unlock, and let's jump to the first anomaly. Now the first anomaly that I'll jump to is going to be a pirate base. The bases are pretty much, there is a single base per system. Sometimes you will encounter more than one base. Sometimes I've seen 2 bases. And those bases are going to be a decent, currently at the moment, a decent income of money, since they will offer a lot of bounty. They have a lot of bounty currently, and of course, there's lots of them as we can see here. Now, someone has been in this anomaly before me. That's why there's so many of these rats there. But I'll just start with the first one. The bounties are going to be increased because it's a 10-day beta, and currently the best way to earn money is by ratting. You can get, I think, 10 million per run, something around that, either 10 or 5 million, which is pretty decent. And of course, you can get a fair amount of money just by doing these missions, and just per base, of course. Now, for the anomalies, the most difficult one will be definitely the base. The bases are currently one of the most difficult ones. Now you have also the small, medium, and large anomalies, which are pretty much similar, but of course, as the name suggests, the small one is going to be the easiest, and the medium is going to be somewhere in between the difficulty, and the large are going to be the most difficult between these three types. And at first, when the game gets live, I recommend to start slowly with the small anomalies. Then after you get a better ship, better items, then you jump on the medium ones, and then finally you can jump on the large anomalies, which of course will give you more money, and of course will give you more items which you can use, and will give you, of course, harder and more difficult enemies. Now, if you're looking for faction equipment, if you're looking for faction modules, then the pirate base is definitely the safe bet. Pirate base at level 4 and above will drop faction equipment. You will have to find the Serpentis rats. They are mostly a bit more difficult, and they can be really nasty, so you have to be careful around them. But once you kill them, once you take them out, and you can also easily distinguish the wreck from the rest. The wreck is called Elite Frigate, Elite Destroyer, or Elite Cruiser, and so on wreck. So you can easily distinguish between them. And in a lot of instances, they will drop faction equipment, which is pretty nice, pretty strong, and of course top tier. And of course, the higher the difficulty, the better the drops, and of course the harder the enemies. Anomalies, pretty much bases, pirate bases, tier 4 and above will drop faction gear. The tier 1, 2, 3 will not. And there is a significant jump between the first three levels. The jump between level 3 and 4 is significant, and the jump between 4 to 5 is also significant, and pretty much it applies to all the other tiers. And of course, you should keep the tier of the anomaly at least +1 or -1 of your ship tier, because if you decide to go in a higher tier anomaly with a low tier ship, well, things might not end up well, since even at tier 3, tier 4, they are going to web you, they are going to scramble you, and pretty much do all of these nasty things, which can lead to ship losses. So you have to be careful, since, you know, if your ship dies, then it's gone. Unless it's a trainer type, then you can repair it, then you can reimburse it, and well, that's pretty much fine. And the golden rule, pretty much one of the most important rules of this game: don't fly ships you can't afford to lose. That's something that should stick with you from early on stages, because losses here can be painful. Speaking from experience, losses here can be painful, and you have to be careful around lots of things in this game. Now, of course, since I am in low sec here, I have to watch at local. I don't want anyone to jump me over here, so I will hide the chat and I will hide the system where I'm at, because currently that's where I'm at. Pretty good loots, pretty good drops there, and so far pretty nice anomalies and a really good income of ISK. So that's why I'll keep the system and I'll keep the chat hidden, so no one can gate camp me or something like that. That wouldn't be nice. I know people will do that, I know. And yeah, so pretty much that's the most basic things about these anomalies. As you progress in the tiers, the anomalies will definitely get harder, and you should stick to the level. Of course, you can still run high tier anomalies with a low tier ship if you have excellent equipment and excellent skills. That's a major improvement. That's one thing that you can do, of course. But for starters, until you get proper items, proper modules and skills, stick to the anomalies of your ship level. Now, of course, during this beta, besides doing this, I'll be doing PvP as well. I really hope to catch some good kills this round, and I'll be using several ships. Of course, this will be the first ship that I'll take a look at. After this, I will take a look at other ships, other destroyers. But so far, the Talvar is one of my favorite destroyers currently. It's a really cheap ship, rapid ship. Is decent. Is pretty robust. It can take hits. Although you shouldn't rely on the rough resistances on this ship. You should rely on its speed. It is a really fast ship, and definitely you can take advantage of the micro warp drives that it can offer, and of its missiles. It has a really decent range as a destroyer, and I orbit them around 24-25 kilometers. Of course, with more skills, that would be a lot. Well, my range also can be increased a lot. And of course, these are Mk3 missiles, which are not the best, but they still do the job just fine. If I had faction gear, faction equipment, I would orbit them around 4 to 50 kilometers. Of course, that's one good thing. And also, I kind of forgot to speak about the rigs. Well, for the rigs on this thing, you can fit either missile velocity, or missile velocity increasement rigs, or missile damage increasement rigs, since those are, I think those are really crucial for the ship. Of course, if speed is important for you, you can also go with ship speed increasement rigs, which are really good, and also pretty basic stuff, which you can buy. Of course, once the game gets officially released, you can do that, since this is a beta, not many people will go for rigs. Of course they will, but in the official release of the game, you should rig the ship to pretty much suit your own fit. In my case, I did fit two missile increase. What was it? Yeah, I did fit missile damage increasement rigs, and I did rig the ship velocity bonus one. So this ship is fast and of course deals a good amount of damage with these missiles. And so far, it does do a good job. This destroyer is... I will not say that it is the best trainer currently, but the missiles are really strong and you should definitely take advantage of the missiles. Now I have also the Dragon Trainer, which is also a really decent, a tanky ship. That ship is more of a tank, can be really good for missions, and I'll cover missions later on in another video definitely. And of course, contracts, they're also released at the moment. I'll take a look at those as well. But so far, the anomalies are going to be definitely your #1 source of income, since there is pretty much no warping left and right. You just warp an anomaly, jump in and start shooting, and the money just starts flowing. That's how easy it actually is. Now I'm kind of still excited for this open beta. It has just been released, and you can definitely hear from my voice. I am definitely excited for this. Very excited actually, and looking forward for the release of the game. Definitely, back in something that I didn't talk about much. Back when the first beta was live, I was actually really sick. I was really sick, and I was in my bed for like 7 days. And this game helped me a lot to overcome that. And not even joking, I'm that serious. I was literally in my bed for like 7 days. Couldn't breathe. I don't know what was up with me. Like I couldn't breathe. I had like really painful chest pain. Although I don't know what was up. I don't know what was up with my lungs, but breathing was hard and stuff like that. 7 days flat in the bed, and oh man. And I don't know, I was playing the game, and that was, those were good. Like, the first beta is excellent, and I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed it. it was my pleasure to record the first beta, by the way, and of course it will be more than my pleasure to record this one as well. Looking forward for the live stream this Friday. I think I already announced it, but I will announce it again. A live stream on Friday. I'll play Echoes for at least 6 or 7 hours. That's gonna be wild. And looking forward for chatting with you. And well, hopefully I'll be a good streamer then. Of course, the system and the chat will be hidden. I don't want any. Oh, there we go. Faction loot. That's very nice. Now, as you can see, you can really easily distinguish the faction wrecks from the rest. Pretty much, they are going to be called elite wrecks, and they can drop really good stuff. Faction stuff is definitely going to be important for you if you're a alpha. If you're a alpha clone, alpha clones will definitely benefit from the faction gear, since it is top tier, and I'm really glad that they allowed alphas to use faction gear, since having faction gear will determine if you will lose or fail at one point. And in this case, having faction gear is good for alphas. They are going to be competitive against omegas in this way, which is really nice, really good, and makes the game not being pay to win, which is excellent. I hate pay to win games, and thankfully, Eve Echoes is not a pay to win game. Well then, I will take out this last mob, and then I'll jump on Inquisitors and Scout Anomalies. Now, Scouts and Inquisitor Anomalies are pretty much similar in terms of how they work and what they contain. The Inquisitors appear to be a little bit more difficult, and they're really important, and they're actually more interesting than the rest of the Anomalies, because they can give you data cores. They have these containers. They're pretty much sites where you can get really important stuff, like blueprints, parts, and you can also get parts for reverse engineering, which is also really good. And so I'm about to jump in. Did I jump? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Angel Space, but I think I'm in Min Matter Space at the moment. And of course, to save time, I did take out all of these enemies. Now there are a couple stages. There are actually 2 jumps. Once you land on a site, you're going to warp in at a acceleration gate. The first room that you enter, you will have to fight several waves of enemies. After you take them out, there is another gate, and the second gate will lead you to the final room. And here you will also be greeted by several waves. Of course, there's going to be a lot more waves than in the first 2 rooms. After you take them out, you are free to loot the containers, and you can pretty much get some really interesting stuff here. As you will see, blueprints also are included. You can get some really interesting blueprints that are going to help you a lot in the game. Of course, as the levels increase, the higher the level, the better the reward will be. The higher the anomaly level is, the harder they will be as well, but the rewards are going to be better. And hopefully, I really hope that I'll get a proper ship to jump in the level 10 anomalies. It will be really interesting to see what they will drop. I'll definitely look forward to. The level 6 to 10 is in low to null sack, pretty much, while the lower levels are going to be limited to high sack and to pretty much early low sack, which is fine by me, since the theme here is, as you venture deeper into unsecure space, the higher reward, you will be rewarded pretty much for risking, and that's pretty nice. And all of these items can be also sold very expensive, especially when the game gets released. These things are going to be expensive, and that's a really interesting and really good source of income as well. So besides writing, you can also do these sites, and after you collect the items that are offered by the sites, you can use them or you can sell them. It pretty much depends on what you are looking for. In my case, it's going to be a combined. It will be a combined thing. I'll definitely use it and sell it at the same time, since I already kind of have a system where I will be at. But anyway, let's collect the final. I think there is one more left. Yeah, there we go. And of course, the main difference between these 2 anomalies is mostly the naming. The scouts are going to contain mostly frigates. They can web you, scramble you, newt you, web you, pretty much they can do all of these nasty things. So do not go and do not venture into these sites if you're not prepared. They can do these nasty things, and they can be really nasty and disgusting, trust me. And there is also a trend. The serpentises will scramble you. The angels will pretty much web you. I think the blood riders will newt you, and the cowardly ones will jam you. Pretty much that's the trend that they can do. Of course, the higher tier anomalies will contain more tricks up their sleeves. For example, they will all scramble you, web you, newt you. They're going to be quick. They're going to be very fast. So you will have to have either a fast ship or a really tanky ship or a really AI ship with phenomenal DPS in the higher tier anomalies. But for starters, of course, when the game launches, will be limited to level 3, 4, to 5, and they still offer some really good rewards. And I think they're pretty balanced. And so far, they're pretty nice. I cannot complain about the rewards. It is pretty nice, and of course, you can get most of your items from the rats, which is a good thing. Well, yeah, this was the last one. As you can see, they do give lots of blueprints. Now, I don't know how much the blueprints are going to be sold for when the game gets released. I hope they will be expensive. Of course, faction will be the most expensive. That's to be expected, of course. But I guess we will see. Well, this was the Inquisitor anomaly, and there was the last one. I think it's the Scout anomaly that I will explore. Pretty similar in structure. Well, pretty similar, if not the same. And you will have to be careful in the higher tier anomalies, since they can be really hard, and especially since these enemies here, these AIs aren't a joke. They're pretty nasty. And in the higher ones, you will definitely have to focus on the Serpentis or the faction ships, since the faction ones are going to be they're going to be pretty much your main threat. The normal ones, the ordinary ones, aren't that much of a problem, but the faction ones, they are really they can be a threat. And yeah, I'm speaking for experience, since they are those who will web you, scramble you, and newt you and stuff like that. And of course, they do a lot of damage. They have phenomenal tracking, and they have really high damage, which is really interesting. And I think it's pretty fun, actually, since it does give you a sense of challenge, and skill here is what matters the most. Well then, I think, yeah, this was the Scout anomaly. I kind of forgot the lineup that I went with. So yeah, those two. There was one Inquisitor and one Scout, and well, pretty much those were the anomalies for the first part. Pretty much, again, currently the fastest way to earn money is by doing these anomalies. It is rewarding, and it is really interesting. Of course, if you aim for exploration, then the sites are your thing, since they offer these containers that can offer really interesting rewards. Probably in the higher tiers, they can also give you faction equipment, probably faction modules, which I will test out when the time comes, of course. Since this open beta currently will last 11 days, I think I have enough time to do pretty much everything that I have planned to. Well then, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. Definitely looking forward to play this game a lot more. Post your recommendations or comments, or pretty much anything if you want to ask me. Post in the comments below. I'll be sure to read all of them. And well, I hope everyone has a wonderful time playing the open beta. And well, fly safe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.